When your clients' brands need to stand out, make them brighter with Brighter Promotions. Named Supplier of the Year, a Sage A+ supplier, and recognized with numerous industry awards. From fast-turn, single-color imprints to brilliant full-color processing, our dedicated team of more than 45 professionals delivers the wow factor. For larger direct import programs, our own Chinese factories provide global capabilities with the attention to detail, responsiveness, and understanding of your clients' needs that only a domestic company can provide. With full product testing and hundreds of thousands of successful orders and reorders, Brighter Promotions delivers fast, dependable, high-quality promotional products. Brighter Promotions, making your clients' brands shine, is our passion.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Promo Perspectives. So today's episode is one that I think just about every distributor can relate to. You have a great conversation, you have a great presentation with the client, they seem really excited about their ideas, maybe even build a presentation, and then nothing. Silence, no response, no feedback, not even a thanks but no thanks, just silence. You've officially been ghosted. Now, if you've ever wondered why buyers ghost distributors, you're definitely not alone. And today we're going to take a look at some of the most common reasons why buyers might ghost distributors and what you can do to combat that. Now, before we jump in, I think it's important to remember something. If you're being ghosted, it doesn't inherently mean that you are doing something wrong. Sometimes life gets busy, priorities change, and sometimes budgets disappear overnight. So there are things that are outside of your control, but there are some things that you can do, and we're going to get into those right now with reason number one. Number one, they were just never ready to buy. I think one of the biggest reasons that distributors get ghosted is that the buyer wasn't actually ready to make a decision. They were perhaps just gathering ideas, maybe they were curious, and maybe they were asked by their company to research options months in advance before the project was actually going to even happen. As distributors, it's easy to mistake interest for intent. So I think it's very important to make sure when you're starting these conversations, try and gauge the intent, because that can then help you gauge, not, of course, put in the effort and try and close that sale, but you can at least go in with the right mindset to know, is this a hot lead? Am I going to close this sale? Or is this going to kind of go off to the wayside? And do I need to add this into my follow-ups later? So one thing that can help is asking questions early, like, what is your timeline? Sometimes that simple question can really help you figure out what their actual intent is. And understanding where somebody is in the buyer's journey can just save everybody time and a lot of heartache. Reason number two, there's too many choices. There's another decision. A lot of us are busy. All of us face decision fatigue. And if you think about it, we're in an industry with millions of products. Our Sage database alone just reached over 2 million products in our database. And so sometimes the biggest value that you bring isn't bringing more options, it's narrowing them down. So instead of sending 20 options, maybe send them 3. Really hone in to what it is that they're actually looking for and start them off small. And if none of those 3 work, then we start with a new batch of 3. But at least it's narrowing down into really bite-sized, easy chunks of information that they can work with to try and help them get over that decision fatigue that will just put them into paralysis by analysis. Too many choices. So a lot of times, if you can tell them why you chose 3, you come off looking more as a curator, and that can usually be more valuable than just being another search engine for them. They want you to help them narrow down. They can do the search on their own. So help them figure out exactly what it is that they need. Reason number 3, something changed. Sometimes it's just as easy as something changed. And sometimes the answer has nothing to do with you at all. Maybe there were budgets cut, or maybe the project got delayed. Maybe they told you a timeline, like we talked about in reason 1, and then the timeline changed. We've all been there. We thought that we had a timeline on a project, and then the powers that be decide differently. Maybe the decision maker left the company, and so now the project is totally stalled. And another initiative becomes more important. It's very frustrating, but that one's also just business. So don't let it feel like rejection. Sometimes silence is not rejection. And that's all that there is to that one. Reason number 4 is sometimes they don't see enough of a difference. And that one probably is one of the hardest ones to hear. Sometimes buyers ghost because they don't see the difference between you and another distributor or you and another supplier. So if every conversation is just centered around the product itself or around the pricing, it can be hard to stand out. So really hone in and focus on like, what value do you bring? Like focus on building those deep lasting relationships so that when they are met with different choices and different distributors, they know that they're going to pick you because of the relationship that you have with them. So ask those questions and like be the relationship builder. Help them solve problems. Again, kind of goes back to that being a curator. Like what can you do that's solving a problem for them that a competitor or a different product isn't? Bring ideas that the client hadn't even considered. This is where you really can stand out and show your value as their business partner and show where you really shine. And then the final reason number 5, is something that feels very near and dear to my heart as a people pleaser. Sometimes they just feel awkward. Sometimes I struggle to know how to say no, and it can be uncomfortable to tell somebody like, I just don't like this. I don't want to. And so sometimes people may not, that might also be why instead of just telling you no, they just say nothing at all. And now you've lost the sale. So sometimes it could also be that they don't want to tell you a project has been canceled. And it doesn't make it ideal, but it can make it understandable. So again, kind of the way you combat that here is keep the conversation open and just try not take it personally. That's the biggest thing, especially in a situation like this. So with all those reasons in mind, we kind of touched on what you can do, but what really can you do if buyers ghost you? So a few thoughts. Follow up, but don't just send like the hey, I'm checking in. Instead, show value. Share a different product. Maybe show, if they've ghosted you, show them the new product line or the new brand kit that you've put together to show them something new that maybe they hadn't even thought of. A little check-in that says, hey, thought about your project, and I'm thinking maybe this could be an interesting route that you go. Again, you're showing your value in different ways and keeping yourself top of mind besides just sending a quick like, hey, still interested? You know, like really give them something to hold on to. And then second is, like we said, don't take it personally. Every salesperson experiences this. I know that I'm speaking to the choir with this group here. And so just don't take it personally and remember that that's just a natural part of the sales cycle. And third, keep building relationships even when there isn't an immediate sale. Kind of going back to like what makes you different than your competitor. This industry is all about relationships. And so make sure that you're not just being transactional because people will feel that and they'll know if you're being transactional. So make sure that you have cultivated a relationship with them that makes them want to come back to you time after time. So the biggest takeaway is this. Ghosting isn't always a reflection of your work, but every interaction is an opportunity to learn. And every rejection is another opportunity to learn. So ask better questions, simplify decisions, and focus on solving problems, not just selling products. Because when clients see you as a trusted advisor and not just a salesperson, they're much less likely to disappear. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Promo Perspectives, and we will see you back next week.